So they've come out of Egypt with all this stuff that they went in with and stuff that God gave them while they were in. They got to carry all this through the Red Sea for 6 months to a year. And they're going through a process of deliverance. Now they got to go through debriefing and deprogramming because 4 generations of people have been in bondage. The median age of people during this time period, which anthropologists suggest would be 1450 BC. The lifespan of people was between 32 and 37 years of age. The men would only live to be 32 years old. The average woman would only live to be 37 years old. These are people who have spent at least 30 years of their lives in bondage. Not to mention, Moses has a sister named Miriam who is older than he is, and a brother named Aaron who is older than he is, and a cousin named Korah who is older than he is, which is a suggest now that at this point Moses is about 80 years old. So he got a whole lot of old folk, or a few old folk, who are stuck in their ways because all they know is bondage. Then he got a lot of millennials who are born in bondage but have not been in there long enough to experience what the old folk who've been in bondage have experienced. So all they have are these passed down stories of how bad stuff has been for so long. Now everybody in there is coming out of a system where they are depending on Pharaoh to keep them alive. All they know is bondage. All they know is being treated badly. All they know is being mishandled. All they know is being mistreated. And their perspective of their life is nothing more than bondage. They're in a new place because they've never not been in bondage before. They have these expectations of what deliverance looks like, but they've never been delivered. They all have this picture in their mind of what deliverance looks like, who all they'd ever known was abuse and neglect. And then they take, watch this, a preconceived notion into the next situation that is glamorized in their minds, but they have no point of reference of what a healthy relationship looks like. And what you want is you want somebody to love your dysfunctional self as if you are functional. You want somebody to understand how jacked up you are and accept you for who you are, and not just accept you, but heal you. When the truth of the matter is, it took you 30 years of negative experiences to become who you are. Now you accusing them of being whoever it was that did it to you. Because we got this expectation of what deliverance looks like, and we ain't never experienced it. So now they got the burden of debriefing and deprogramming. Here is the burden of debriefing and deprogramming. All they had to do was sit back, obey God, and let God do what it took to get them out. Now they must take responsibility for their own deprogramming and their own debriefing, which means now that they got to get the Egypt out of them that God got them out of. There is systematic bondage and there is systemic bondage. If I break a bone, my bone is a part of the skeletal system. You set the bone. And then when you set the bone mends. So 6 to 8 weeks, the thing that is broken in the system, once it is set, it goes back to its rightful place. If there is a systemic infection, that is an infection that is in me, that if it is not treated, it will spread through my whole body. God destroys the system that had them in bondage. But now it is systemically in them. So they are so infected by what they've been through. Because the problem with many of us is that what God has gotten us out of is still in us. So here's why your victory is bittersweet. Because God delivered you from Ray Ray or Shanae that dogged you. And now you with JoJo or Shaniqua that loves you. The problem is you still love Ray Ray and Shanae. Your system is poisoned. And because your system is poisoned, you sabotage the best thing. God done brought them out of the most hellish situation they've ever been in. They get the water. They want to drink it. They can't drink it because it's bitter. Now the place that the bitter water is called Shur. S-H-U-R. Shur in the Hebrew means wall. So now, after all this deliverance that God has performed in their lives, they hit a wall. And when they hit this wall, they get bitter. Here's the reason your victory is bittersweet. Because you think that God just supposed to give you a walk through the park. But God said, I got to cause you to deal with some stuff to cause you to trust me. So they hit a wall, and now they bitter. And this is why many of us are not thankful for where we are right now. Because we let the walls that we hit in our process make us forget everything that God did to get us here. They hit a wall. They hit a wall. Everything was cool until we had our first argument. And now I'm ready to pack up and go. Everything was cool when I didn't have any responsibility. When the one that I had was doing everything and took the load off me that I had been carrying by myself for so long. But now that they put some of the responsibility back on me, because relationships ain't 50-50, relationships are 100-100. And now when some of the responsibility comes back on me, I hit this wall and now I'm ready to, and they start complaining. Moses, this water is